lot of people have asked me, how do I make all these videos? For the first time ever, I'm gonna show you. This video right here has over 3 million views. Here's how I made it. Time to film my first duet in over 6 months. Come with me. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna use my amp for the first time in over 6 months. Gotta move this stuff. We'll just gently set it aside. Got 2 1/4 inches because I have 2 preamps in my head here. So we're gonna feed it into an AB box. Like this. A, B. And I'll blend them in. So I got these 2 mics on my cabinet here, and I'm trying to put one at a 45-degree angle and one at a straight-on angle. I'm giving it a little space. If I was doing like a metal, like distortion riff, I'd probably be closer up on the grill. Try and have it kind of equal distance from here to there, same as here to there and here to the angle of the sound that's gonna be coming out. Sound comes out in a cone shape. So we're gonna try that. The main thing we're gonna do is test for phasing once I get my tones first, but I'm gonna get it set up to do both. So I always try and just kind of listen to whatever I'm gonna record and try and match the tone by ear before ever turning on my amp or any kind of tones on my end. Just see what I'm trying to get. So in this case, it's like a little gritty, a little distorted, but not crazy distorted. I'm thinking that I have a pedal down here called the Riverside. That'll probably be a good fit. Let me just hear a little more of that. All right. So, pretty aggressively loud. That's where I want it. It's not really for me as much as it is for the neighbors. Yeah, it's too loud. That's super loud. It's like... Maybe a lot less gain. Okay. Just a little thin. It's not bad with just the amp. If I maybe get a little more grit on that. It sounds cool, it's just definitely a bit more compressed. I know on the recording it actually goes straight through without just the triplets all the way. But I found with that weird sound of the motorcycle, it kind of needs to have that triplet punch, so I'm just gonna play it. So that's pretty good. This is good too. Maybe this pedal, let's try this one. This one's called the Tumnus. It's kind of warm and round, I'm liking that. Get a little more mids up in there. That's not bad. I'm liking that quite a bit. Let's try this other one and compare. They both have their merits, so I think I'm going to try both out when I go to record. But I think that's a good starting point. So now I'm going to move this into the other room. So called it Harley Ace of Spades because we thought it was going to be Motorhead, and then it turned out super fast. So I'm going to make a last minute pivot and do some King of the Hill, which means I got to change my session around a little bit. And I need to see my video to do that. So I got my click track here. Does a little 4-beat count off right before the sound kicks in. Got my video over here on this screen, so I can play along and interact with it. And then I got 2 tracks up here for my guitar. So I got a left and a right. And I'll probably do the mix like that. I'll probably have a left and a right for that. So we're gonna split it and get some tones and see what's gonna work with what we're doing. I'm just gonna set my EQs where I think will be a good starting point for these guitars. So engage my EQ on both. It really seems to get a nice level if I hit 47.5. And then we'll just start that as a starting gain structure. What we got going on EQ wise. Again, just starting point, all you gotta use your ears, but let's add a little bit of the highs. I believe that band is 10K and above. I got the top mic, because I'm gonna be using 2 mics. I have it boosting a little bit of 4K. And then I'm gonna boost a little bit of the 3K on the bottom one, which will be more at a 45-degree angle. Tiny bit of 110. That can be like a really pokey kind of sound, so I don't do a lot of it, but a little bit will help it out. And I'm gonna do my high pass filter in Pro Tools, so I'm not gonna do it on here. Everything else looks good. Yeah, great. Turn on the old amp. Hit my tuner so it's in box pads. So we're gonna try a couple different ways and see which one's gonna sound better when we get this mic up in the mix. Always tune before I track anything, even if it's just getting tones. Do a one take of just a clean one with no anything else, no distortion, no pedals. Alright, we'll tweak those levels if that is what we're going to use. Next one, let's go with tones. Sounds pretty good too. Definitely got to tweak my preamp gain on both of those. And then let's try that Riverside. That one sounded the best to my ears with the mic in the mix. That's the Riverside. Let's see what it sounds like in here. Let's take a listen. Alright, that's no distortion pedals. It sounds a little like Bonanza to me, so probably not that. I like to look at the video too and just make sure it's like feels good and I believe it. I don't know. I think this one's gonna be the best. This is Riverside. That's right in the wheelhouse. So I'm gonna go Riverside, but I need to dial in a couple things with that. So first thing I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna look at this and let's check my phasing. Check this out, zoom in on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what we want to see. So I'm looking for the peaks of the waveforms of the different mics, and I recorded perfectly in phase. That's why it sounds so thick and good like that. You can see there's the mirror images We're just hitting everything perfectly. So I'm not gonna touch anything. It's great, we knocked it out of the park in that. Thank you, music gods. Sometimes it takes forever. And I'm looking in the waveform of this top one is too much, so I'm gonna turn down. I could either cut the preamp gain that I'm giving, or I could cut the amount of output that I'm sending. So I'm gonna do that one, and I'm gonna see if I can get a better sound. There's also a couple other things about this tone that I want to a little more, or a little less gain overall, I think, just to make it cut through a little bit on those gallops. And then I think we'll get a little bit of that with the reduced output over here. So just kind of ballpark. This is where having an engineer would be nice to do it live, but I can do it all myself too. It still sounds good. Pedal, I'm going to cut the distortion a tiny bit. And then we're going to try it. To save myself some time, I'm not even going to do the in-ears or the video or any of that. We're just going to go and get the sound with the backing track and just see if it's going to blend or not. So, take off this. And I'm looking at my levels, they're looking pretty nice right here. So, I'm wondering if I might have gained down too little. And the levels are pretty good. I'm going to turn this one up a tiny bit on the bottom on that 45 to capture a little more. And then we're going to take that gain up a tiny bit. Can't be a king of the hill with no wimpy tones, you know what I mean? So. Levels are money. I love that. That's going to be a good one, but we'll check with our ears. The track from before, which is not quite as good in my brain, but it's not going to fit with this motorcycle time. Not too bad, actually, at all. That sounds pretty good. Let's see if the one I thought would be it does. I think we could do better. The first one sounded better to me than that, so I'm going to take it on the pedal, and then I'm going to check our levels with those preamps. Great. So we're at take 10 and we have not recorded an actual pass of the song, but that's no worries. It sounds good. Everything's balanced proper. I guess go change. Go shoot this. Lucky avocado. And the first ever video I did that I got some views on was LaGrange. I was wearing this one. And then there's a couple other ones since then that have had a bunch of views. So I feel like it always brings the good luck. Plus, who doesn't like the Rockacado? I don't want to meet him. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So here's what I do with the mix. Got the motorcycle sound up here on this track. And right here, got the guitar. And so, as you can see, no editing on any of the tracks. Guitar as played. And what I did is, here's the motorcycle sound. Cut a tiny bit of the lows out of there. And a tiny, tiny bit of the highs, but like very, very high, 30K. And then guitar went with cutting quite a lot of the lows out. I wanted to have that motorcycle sound really coming through and taking all that. So all the way down to 24, it looks like, as far as my cuts. Here's those in there. Gets rid of a little mud, I would say. I have both of those tracks going into a bus track, and it's going into a tape simulator. Punches up the guitar a little bit. Then we got this other tape that we run the guitar through. It's called the Studer. Kind of really makes it sound like that organic, rock sound that was captured. And then this is kind of interesting. For the preamps, I'm running through these digital versions of the preamp that I have, but just with a slightly different EQ. It's the 1084. And I did the opposite as far as the mids on the mics that I had. I had it going at the 4.8 band, but over here I'm boosting the 3.2. So I kind of flipped what I was doing, and then the same thing on the other mic. That one's going to the 4.8, where in the room I was doing the 3.2. And both of those I'm boosting at 16K, which is something that they don't have on the versions that I have. Tiny little boost at 110, but not much. And then that's going into this thing, which is an EQ, basically bus EQ. And I'm gonna have, kind of cool thing is you can listen to the different zones. So it's like really helpful as far as dialing in what I want to do. In this case, I'm doing absolutely no lows of any kind. It's just kind of, I don't want to have anything to interfere with that motorcycle sound. I'm just doing some very minor stuff in the mids and a little bit of highs, like really minor, 0.7 dB. And the only other thing besides that is I have this plugin called the Oven, which is doing a little bit of parallel distortion of these settings. With that, here's without. So everything is going through a limiter at the end. Tiny, tiny bit of limiting, like. That's how much my meters are here. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you have any questions or anything, just drop them in the comments. I'll try and get back to everybody if I can. And I really enjoyed making this longer form content. I'm going to start making a lot more of it. I'm going to be a lot more active on YouTube. So please like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the journey with me. Looking forward to sharing a lot of new content with you. Till next time.